Hey guys, my name is Russell and this is my off-grid cabin. I just did a video on 5 things I would have done differently designing my off-grid cabin, and it was hard to come up with 5 things, honestly. So now I'm going to do 5 things I did right. I could probably do like 10 or 15 or 20 things because it came out so well, but anyway, we'll try and keep it to 5. So number 1 on the things that I think I did right is this deck. It is a big deck. The whole cabin is 800 square feet. That's the maximum you can go for a hunt camp, which is what this cabin technically is. It's a hunt camp. So when I said 800 square feet, well, how about a 200 square foot deck and a 600 square foot building? And that's what I went with. And I think it was a really good decision to go with such a big deck because I love this deck. In the summer, in the fall, we spend so much time on this deck. And we sit and we watch the scenery and drink beer and stuff, and I'm just happy to have this huge honking deck on here. So number 2 on the things that I did right, and this one isn't as obvious. When I first started thinking about how I wanted to position the cabin, what kind of which way should it face, I thought, well, it should have a south-facing view, like the deck should face south, and that's, I don't know why I always think that way, but then I got thinking about it, and it occurred to me that a north-facing view would be a lot better, and here's why. Well, the first reason is that I don't like being in the sun. I like sunlight, but I don't like sun beating down on me, for one. So sitting on the north side of the cabin will help that. But also, I noticed this when I was at a friend's cottage, and he had a south-facing view. His deck was facing south. And he's right on a river, and I noticed that a lot of the time, everything he looks out at is in shade, because the sun is on that side of the sky, right? From morning to night, a lot of it was all the trees were in shade. And I thought, it stinks. So here, because we're facing north, the trees are in sunlight all day long instead. So everything we look at is in sunlight. I mean, we do get some shading in first thing in the morning and then late in the evening, either on one side or the other, but most of the time, everything's beautiful and gorgeous. So, not an obvious one, but yeah, that's number 2. When I first envisioned this loft space, I thought, well, it doesn't need to be very tall. I mean, we can just kind of climb the ladder and then crawl and get into a bed or whatever. And I thought, no, you know what? I want to be able to stand up straight in here. So, obviously I can't stand up straight in very many places, but I thought, if only right in the center I can stand up straight, then I'm going to be happy with that, because that means that, I can stand up when I'm putting clothes on or whatever, and I can walk back and forth. So I actually got like a few inches of clearance. Where's the collar? So here's a collar tie right here. And my roof is going to come down. I'm not sure what it's going to be, like half inch pine or whatever. So I still got lots of clearance there, which is nice, and I can even move back and forth a little bit. So, and I think that was a really smart idea. I don't want to be crawling around up here, or, on my hands and knees, or ducking everywhere I go because I'll hit my head, But I'm pretty happy with this decision. I won't include this on the list, but I'm pretty happy I put windows on both sides. Lots of nice light comes in up here now. Anyway, since I'm up here and I'm talking about it, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put knee walls along the sides. There's no point to having, that open right down to the corner, because you got to crawl on your hands and knees to get there. What are you going to put there? I don't know. Anyway, that was number 3. I think so. Another thing I won't put on the list, but I'm really happy with, is all the windows I decided to put in. These big 4x4 windows, there's 6 of them around this big room, and then there's the 2 smaller ones in them. If anything, I'd put in more windows, but I'm pretty happy I put in windows that I did. I was on the Kentucky Woodsman's channel, and he's building a cabin as well, and I said to him, he's got his framing up, and I said, geez, put in more windows. He's only got like 2 in the whole cabin. Like, please put in more windows. You won't regret it. Even if you can't afford the windows now, at least frame them in so you can easily add them later. The 4th thing I want to put on my list is well, let me put it this way. When I was designing the cabin, I thought for a while, I could use recycled materials, reclaimed materials. I could go to the Restore. I could get, I could get lumber that's, from other projects, that people are giving away. And I thought, you know what? No, I went and I bought everything new. Most of it's new. All the windows are new. All the lumber's new and everything. And I'm really happy I did that because the cabin is just so much more comfortable, this way. And I didn't skimp on the walls. I could have done 2x4 walls, but I didn't. I went 2x6 walls, which is good because now I can put in the full 5.5-inch insulation, and it'll be really comfy, cozy in here when I do that. So I'm happy I did that. I'm happy I went, and bought new windows, and I'm happy I went and bought these new I-joists and put them in. Like if you're just building a hunt camp, like a real hunt camp, and you're only planning on using it 2 weeks out of the year, then I wouldn't go to all this trouble. I would just do it as cheaply as I could. But if you're planning on spending a lot of time at your cabin, like we plan to spend, then you're going to get your money's worth. So don't hold back. Just go for it. Another thing I thought of doing is building a much smaller cabin at first. Just something to live in, and then I build a bigger cabin, or just keep adding on to the smaller cabin. And I'm kind of glad that I went with the full-size cabin right from the start, and because now I don't have to worry about trying to do an add-on or anything like that. The thing's here and it's built, and it's the size that we need it to be right from day one. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm not going to include it in one of the top 5 things I did right, but I spent a lot of time siting the cabin. I went all the way around this beaver pond, and then all the way around the much larger beaver pond that's over to the west. I looked at a bunch of spots, and when you're picking a location for your cabin, everything is the view. Everything. Picture yourself drinking a beer and sitting on your deck. And really make sure you get the best spot, and I think this is definitely the best spot around. I'm really happy with our view here. Well, what can you say about solar power? It's just so nice. Right from day one, when I was designing my cabin, I knew I was going to put solar panels on it. I already had it. I already had all the solar panels, the batteries, the inverters. I knew it was going on, and so that was one of the reasons why this roof faces exactly south, is because I knew I was going to put solar panels on it. And it sure is nice having the electricity there when I need it and not having to run a generator. Yeah, it's a little maintenance looking after the batteries, but no, I'm pretty happy with it. If you're designing a cabin, try and get some solar power. You don't need to go this size. This is huge. This is a lot of power, and you don't need that. Really, what you should consider is just something to run the lights at night is really all you need. You could get away with a single panel, a single battery, charge controller, inverter. You don't even need an inverter if it's just a 12-volt system. And Bob's your uncle. So that's number 5 in the things that I'm really happy I did. And that brings us to the end of this video. So I'm going to be posting some other videos in the near future, like this trip to the cabin is going to go online. I don't know how many parts it's going to be in. And then I'm coming back. We're heading home today, and I'm coming back in a week for more fun and frolic, and we'll do more videos, so stay tuned. If you like this video, you know what to do. I love comments, so please leave a comment as well. Thanks. Take care.